So as heartbeats gradually gather momentum in anticipation of another and predictably a more delicate twist to the unwavering Anglophone crisis, ideological drifts keep widening as moderates, federalists and separatists multiply efforts to push through their opinions. And on the fringes, the likes of former CRTV journalist Julius Wame have been placed in the hardliners' verbal firing lines for blasting what he terms internet generals currently promoting the struggle. Welcome and thanks once again for your company. We'll set sail in a moment. Hi, Elie Smith, welcome.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
I almost caught you off guard. You were about drinking your coffee.
Exactly, we have to always energize ourselves, as to borrow the parlance or the weddings of Kejan. He says that we have to dynamite the basic organs.
Right. So recently you were in Bamenda,
yeah.
in Bangui precisely.
Exactly.
And we've not talked much about your trip there and what you brought back,
sure.
But we promised our viewers last week that we're going to come to some of the collections you made out there in detail in subsequent editions. We're not there yet. Probably on Thursday we will do.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to Bamenda, or the northwest, Bangui via Bamenda, because we, as journalists, we heard of the news that an armed cache was discovered there at the GRA of Bangui. So I wanted to go there with our team to carry out an investigation. But what I discovered was that everybody, no one single individual in Bangui or around, believes in what the government is saying. Okay. And then it is kind of suspicious. I'm not trying to... There was one guy I met who was telling me some story that those people were arrested in a bar, that they were tipped, and then when you go there, you look at it, it doesn't look like that was where something of a grand proportion was about to be made. And on my way to Bamenda, I saw the trajectory between Babaju and Bamenda, which was very horrible and very bad state.
Just to remind you, Elie Smith, the Communication Minister, whose government mouthpiece is Isachiro Mabakari, says one of the arrested people suspected of masterminding the arms cache that was supposedly discovered in Bangui a couple of days ago, has admitted that he's actually a member of an armed wing of the ongoing struggle.
Look, this thing is, I suspect...
And even so, some say the government is, doing everything to paint the struggle as black.
Exactly. That's my personal observation, right? And I also understand that, well, I've not been able to speak with a guy who has confessed at the Ministry of Communication, claims that he has confessed to be a member of the armed wing. But I think that the ideology of Anglophone Cameroon has never been to weaponize the movement. Right. If they wanted to weaponize it, they would have done that a long time ago. My suspicion is that the government is playing with fire. The government wants to, since the government is afraid that the movement in West Cameroon can spill over into Francophone Cameroon, they want to look for something which is going to create the war between the Anglophones and the Francophone Cameroonians. So that's the reason why they want to make up this thing by claiming that they discovered an armed cache, which is very dangerous in my opinion, because it's as if the government is trying to play with fire.
Okay. So we'll be coming back to that in subsequent editions of the program. Welcome, Kejan Henry. You are coming in from the Kondo Titi in the southwest region. Some call it the Kondo Tai Tai.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's true. You're right. Good morning to you, Divine.
So how was your trip?
Well, it was a good one, though a very perilous journey, because of the very bad nature of the road to Indian Division, which is one of the most under-scholarized divisions in the country and in west of Cameroon.
Reasons enough for people out there to be angry with the government?
They are always very angry.
Particularly angry?
They are very much angry, especially as it's a rich division.
In terms of
oil, in terms of petroleum, a rich division in terms of agriculture, because it's an agricultural cocoa growing hub, because part is in Bonget subdivision, which is part of Meme division, but then agriculture, plantations, and of course, the famous Bakassi projects that were abandoned, because the government, according to the Green Tree Agreement, needed to confirm that it owns the territory and now populate the environment.
And you met a couple of chiefs out there struggling to clamor for kids to go back to school in
You are
September.
correct. Yes, I did. I met people like Chief Mekanya Charles, who actually clamored for children to go back. Chief Itoiso, the paramount leader of India, of Ekolo Titi, and so many other Chief Oro, etc.
Okay.
They all are clamoring for the children to go back to school. I think we'll come in back to that subsequently.
Yeah, we will do in the course of this edition of Tough Talk. But before then, a group calling itself the Circle for Research on the Rights and Duties of the Human Person, it is abridged CRED, that is C-R-E-D in French, says it has given President Paul Biya 110 days to leave power. Elie Smith, that sounds like an audacious joke.
Yes, it's an audacious joke, but I think at this point in time in Cameroon, everything is possible. And if there is an organization like that...
Could Paul Biya give them an ear?
Of course.
Because you say everything is possible.
Everything is possible because Paul Biya himself, I don't think he's controlling anything. He's too old, weak and tired. So I think he's not controlling things. And I think this same organization issued a communique like that, a similar communique when he was in Switzerland, and then...
In fact, it did on October the 22nd and December the 16th, 2016.
And when they did it, immediately Paul Biya came back to Cameroon. Was it just a coincidence? I suspect that it should be a very powerful organization. And the other thing with this organization is that they should really make us to know who are they, because they seem to be operating like ghosts, just the same as the ghost town is operating in the northwest and southwest region.
Now, okay, John Henry, some say this should be amusing the President Paul Biya actually. The quit notice was actually served the Cameroon ambassador to Geneva in Switzerland, where the NGO is based, on August the 15th. The President has not reacted ever since.
Well, you know, the government will not react. Probably the Minister of Communication will react to that. We expect
would he say if he reacted?
Well, it is their right to say whatever thing they say. But just know that even back home here, politicians, journalists, and even the common man on the street, even the civil society, has asked the President to leave. So to me, it's not any big news. But the fact that they gave a time limit, 100 and, did you say 80 days?
110
and 10 days.
From August the 15th.
From August the 15th. So we should start from today to count. If when we get to 100, I will clock 110 days. We'll see.
That's just a little under 4 months.
Exactly.
If every month is
if every month is 30 days, then it should be in 3 months. 3 months. So we should start doing our counting from today. But what they are based on, or the strength of their ultimatum to Mr. Biya, I still don't know like Elie said, the mask behind the ghost.
Okay. Now, Elie Smith, well, the letter does not specify what will happen if President Paul Biya, stays on in office after 110 days. But this sounds contrary to popular opinion, because the group says after Biya, Cameroon will not plunge into chaos, but will become a more unified federal state.
Yes,
that's not what public opinion currently holds.
Yeah, that's what public opinion have a different point of view, simply because they think that as long as Biya still continues to perpetuate himself in power, it's going to be synonymous to what Mobutu did under Zaire. So they think that if Paul Biya leaves within that 90 or 100 days period, it's going to give an opportunity for a revival of Cameroon, because the only problem of Cameroon today, as I've been saying, I even said it in the morning, is just one man, and the one man is called Paul Biya. He's the person who is destroying Cameroon. And I think it is true. If Paul Biya leaves power, it is going to give an opportunity for emergence of new leaders who will be able to speak and then bring on the table this problem of federalism, which is the only salutary outing for Cameroon's future.
Okay, now let's take a break, and thanks to Emmanuel Bevirka, who's out there on the cameras, and of course Roland Lebja behind the dashboard. We'll be back in a minute. Let's take a break. And so, following the recent besieging and roasting of the green, red and yellow flag at Cameroon's High Commission in Ottawa, Canada, on the sidelines of the widely unpopular Anglophone crisis explanatory missions abroad, the government, through Communication Minister Issa Chiroma, has fired back. Kejan Henry, in an interview published recently, Wednesday last week in Cameroon Tribune, Minister Chiroma qualified the incident in Canada a non-event.
Yes,
to start with.
Yes, to him it's a non-event, but to some people it's an event. The fact that a flag of a country, of a nation is burned is sending warning signals to that nation that there are a group of people who are angry. And if the minister should say it's non-event, then there should be no need to say the mission, which was a bizarre fiasco to the diaspora, or the diasporic mission that was sent out, should be qualified
so
equally.
Also
was a non-event, yes, because you and I know what happened. But if you say that the burning of the flag is a non-event, and you see some group of people brought down the gate of the embassy, or that the mission to explain what the government of Cameroon is trying to do to arrest the crisis, if you qualify that as events, then you should equally qualify the fact that they burned the flag because they did not want that mission as an event, rather than saying it's a non-event.
Elie Smith, he, however, goes on to admit that the, quote, secessionists succeeded in their bid to tarnish the image of Cameroon.
Yes, it is true. But I have another reading about what happened with the burning of the flag. My take on it is that it's the Cameroon government itself that is trying to do those things, because I think the idea of the government of Cameroon is that, and that's where they are wrong, is that forcing themselves into their own embassy, setting it ablaze or burning down the flag, is going to whip a kind of nationalistic sentiment back home, especially within the Francophone community who are so nostalgic of a great Cameroon. It is going to drive away.
Turn the Francophone Cameroonians
against the Anglophones. Where I say they are wrong is simply because there is a fringe of Anglophone. Not every Anglophone is for secession. Quite all right, being a secessionist is not a crime. But now what is going to happen is that those who are for secession will now think that, all right, if we have been able to burn the flag in Canada, we can do something else elsewhere. Because the question I beg to ask is this. You know very well how our foreign missions are. At the Embassy of Cameroon or the High Commission in Canada, first of all, the place is populated by the people who are supporting the Paul Biya. And to be very clear, they are populated.
Are you saying that the embassy is populated by pro-Biya?
Of course, yes. They speak only French. Most often they speak Beti language. So how will you expect people to come into an embassy, do what they have done? I suspect that it is just a kind of manipulation that the government is doing, trying to want to give the Anglophone movement a bad name and also drive a wedge between the Anglophones and the Francophone, because naturally, to cut it short, is that those who are even for secession will not, under any circumstances, carry such an act because it doesn't give them a good name. It doesn't paint them in a good light.
Okay. Kejan Henry, Minister Chiroma actually notes that, well, you may tear down, burn, do whatever you want to do to the flag of Cameroon, but no nation on earth will oblige the government of Cameroon to cede to the, quote, secessionist demands.
Yes, he might be right and as well as might be wrong, because
we have images of
yes.
Yes, well, go ahead, Kejan.
Come on. Yes, because if Cameroon is a sovereign nation, no nation on earth should interfere in the affairs of another sovereign nation.
Even if you burn the flag of Cameroon in Canada, what happens if blood was shed?
Now that would be something different, because they will be probably judged under the Canadian law, or the law of that territory where the flag was burned or where blood was shed. But it is very true, no nation will come to intervene on in the affairs of another nation, because it is a sovereign nation. So Minister Chiroma is, in another sense, telling the people that, well, Cameroon will continue to do what it is doing, or Cameroon government. Because remember that he was the first person who said when the dialogue collapsed between the consortium and the government, championed by Professor Gogomo. When dialogue collapsed, Minister Chiroma went back, he came out to say that le gouvernement va passer à une vitesse supérieure.
In English,
the government will move to a Panasonic speed of crushing. It is not good language.
Okay.
You understand? So, which means whatever thing he's saying now, he's merely saying that the government has every machinery to crush.
Okay. Elie Smith, Minister Chiroma says it's a non-event to burn the flag of Cameroon, but he says it is time for the flag burners to come back home and come to the negotiation table, and I'm wondering which table he might be referring to.
Well, sometimes Mr. Chiroma is doing his own job, and that's the reason why Jeune Afrique compared him to Lambert Mende in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and then added that.
What's the link?
That Lambert Mende, they call him in Lingala Chaku, means parrot.
Right.
He just
Chaku.
talks like
Lambert
that.
Chaku.
He just talks a lot. But the thing is that they said, Jeune Afrique said that Lambert Mende was a tad more intelligent and more tactical than Mr. Chiroma. So Mr. Chiroma says whatever thing he wishes to say. Well, that the flag burners can come back to Cameroon and dialogue.
I came to the negotiating table.
Fantastic. Those who were here, who are in prison, were they not for dialogue?
Okay.
They were for dialogue. So I think that is quite contradictory.
Kejan Henry, and that's how we begin to move out of this. The minister also adds that Cameroon, as it is today, is the fruit of the shed blood of the founding fathers of the nation, and a heritage that must be jealously protected. In other words, self-rule is clearly out of the equation on the government side.
No, that is a very wrong analysis. When he says shed blood, there's even a certain writer who came out to say, to propagate the name of Dean or something like that. I remember we were at the book launch. Though the book falls short of reality when you talk about the history of Cameroon. And don't forget that we used to see that Cameroon existed in kingdoms, small kingdoms, when the Germans came and then brought these entities. So if he says shed blood, I don't know, in West Cameroon, those who shed blood in West Cameroon are different from those who shed blood in East Cameroon.
Okay.
And the people who shed the blood, nobody has ever mentioned the name of Omiobe. I mean, President Biya has never mentioned his name in any of his speeches, because when we talk about the patriots, those who shed blood, remember when presidents come up in America, at the end of or when they swear in, they go and place a wreath on the graves of unknown soldiers. Well, our own president has never done that to show that, okay, there are those who shed their blood.
Henry, because as we speak, there are swelling claims driving us to the conclusion that among the handful of demonstrators in Ottawa, for case of particularity, there were Cameroonian compatriots of Francophone linguistic fabric.
Yes.
Does it worry you that among the Anglophones who are claiming secession, they are Francophones?
Who are claiming secession too? Or who
are contributing in roasting the nation's flag?
It doesn't worry me. It should not worry me, because those are things that some people capitalize, maybe sponsored by the government. Like somebody said, in a problem, the government creates a problem. That is, the government creates a problem in a problem to be able to clamp down on the problem.
Aggravate it, and then hit hard.
Hit hard, that is it.
Elie Smith, you must be comfortable with such an analysis. You've been holding that suspicion for very long now.
Yes, I've held it from the word go. This thing is being sponsored by the government of Cameroon, simple, to paint the Anglophone movement black. And now, even there are some Anglophone secessionists quite well. We cannot dispute that. But those Anglophone secessionists will not go that extra mile as to burning down the flags of any nation.
They didn't do so in Belgium, in Brussels, for example. We didn't see them do it.
They didn't do that. And in Canada, where a lot of Francophones, that's what I say, and I stand by what I said. These people are paid by the government to do what they are doing, because they think that by doing what they have done, and already it's already having some kind of dividends. You have some people called Bandakani, some fictitious doctorate holders called Bertrand whatever, who claims that it is a kind of conspiracy to divide Cameroon, like the case that took place, like the case of Ukraine, which has no parallel between what is happening in Ukraine or what is happening in Venezuela. But I think that what is happening in Canada, the government, I don't know the type of how the government is going to convince me to say, because there's one guy I saw in video saying that, speaking in French,
ne me montre pas,
yes. Which means that when he says ne me montre pas, it means that the government sent them there to do it in order to paint the Anglophone secessionist black. And
we have a picture in the machines, Elie. It is the picture of Christian Romeo Uge. He's actually based in Toronto, and he is a media manager. He actually owns a couple of media outlets out there in Canada. He is the one who says that among the protesters, he spotted Francophones, Kejan Henry.
Yes.
Cameroon's High Commissioner to Canada, Solomon Azombi, has curiously not reacted to the incident.
Yes, he will not react. Yes, he will not react because they get instructions from their minister, the minister, Lucien Bela, and to speak on this particular issue, they must be very technical with what they see. And so he cannot organize any press conference or press outing to talk about what happened. So they will probably tell him what to say, you know, from Yaoundé. So it's not a surprise at all.
Meantime, Professor Pascal Charlemagne Mesanga Nyamding, who is, well, self-proclaimed pro-BIist, he says that such adrenaline overflows as seen in Canada. Detained activists should be freed and genuine dialogue initiated. Is it strange? Because he proposes that as a solution to halt such incidents like what we saw in Ottawa, Elie Smith, free the detainees and engage genuine dialogue.
Yeah, I think
it's strange that it comes from a pro-BIist, the CPDM.
Like Mesanga Nyamding, right? I'm very happy that Mesanga Nyamding, Elie, Emmanuel Nkom, they are now conversing, because we have had a lot of debates with Emmanuel Nkom at the beginning, where he was calling it a non-event, they were calling Anglophone vandals, in calling them names. But now they have come to their right senses that to solve these problems, those who are in detention should be freed. They even went an extra mile in saying that if Paul Biya of Cameroon can negotiate with coup plotters, how much more with people who have poured
with Boko Haram for the release of terrorists? Yes,
you know, for Boko Haram, they even paid money, they paid ransom, and this ransom was taken and given right up in Libya in order for those people to be freed. And those people are in the government dialogues with them. You have patriotic Cameroonians who have just voiced a concern that the union is not a good union, and people, or some of them, it was even first of all a corporatist problem that became feed into political aspect of things. So I think that Mr. Nyamding, we should applaud such a person, because it shows that there are a number of francophones. It shows that Mr. Nyamding,
acolytes could tell him the truth.
The truth. It also shows that Mr. Nyamding is honestly an intellectual, not those fictitious people who come around, I have PhD in this and tell lies to people. So it's good.
Kejan Henry, this is a fine-tuned politician, right? He is a member of the CPDM Central Committee. Now, I think I'm talking to you. You are somebody who's nursing political ambitions. Is this tactical, or is it a genuine fruit of the spirit of the professor?
No, that is his way. Remember when Atebayini was still alive?
Is he reading the future? In other words, does he know that something could happen, and he's just placing himself on the fence? On the fence. So whenever whatever happens, he slips to where.
That is good. Sometimes Mr. Nyamding surprises people, because that statement he made the last time on Canal Press, because he said Biya has pardoned those who plotted against him, and even admitted them into his government. And when he said, should I call them, the whole panel shouted no.
He would have called names like people like Sisa Chiruma,
Maigari, and so that. In fact, that was general amnesty, pardon. It came from his heart, I suppose. Now, if Mr. Nyamding should tell President Biya that they should free those people, I think it's genuine. It's genuine from an intellectual. From that point, because they already see the problem from the beginning, and like we were saying, those from the beginning will run their mouth, they rant without necessarily analyzing the situation to understand what went wrong. The early people who saw the problem and saw how it's going to go were the people like the Oyono. I'm talking about the Honorable Oyono from Martin, yes, from the south. People like the former governor, inspector general of the Ministry of Territorial Administration, I'm talking about Abuem Achoy. They saw it coming. Okay. So if Nyamding should join that boat, it's not a matter of coincidence or a matter of nursing political ambitions, just from a genuine intellectual.
Thanks, Henry. Just to remind our viewers that you're watching Tough Talk on Canal English, where we say it as it is. Well, factually blunt and, of course, decently meticulous. Don't you forget, Leke Gina will be coming up in the next couple of minutes with our trending point today. It is all about Lake News. So if you want to stay tuned to the latest developments on the disaster that claimed close to 2,000 lives about 31 years ago. Then hold on a minute. Now we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll find out why Julius Wame, the former CRTV journalist, has been placed firmly in the firing line, verbal firing line, of the so-called internet generals promoting the Anglophone struggle. We'll be back in a moment. And so from all available indications, the socio-political climate in English-speaking Cameroon, that's the northwest and southwest regions, is delicately perched on a rickety balance that could tilt in the wrong direction and at short notice anytime soon. After spending 4 months in his native northwest region, US-based former CRTV journalist Julius Wame has reckoned that the self-styled, quote, internet generals are shepherding ordinary Anglophones to the brinks of a nasty abyss. Elie Smith, in the two-page write-up, Mr. Wame raises eyebrows at the fact that with a remote control and from a safe distance, we've said this in the last edition of the show, these so-called internet generals can tell Cameroonians how to live their daily lives, how not to send children to school, how not to open their shops, how not to drive across the territory in the name of upholding the resistance against the so-called La République du Cameroon.
Yeah, the problem with Julius Wame, I want to believe since he's in the United States, or maybe he's looking for an appointment back here in Cameroon, he's not saying, he doesn't seem to know it, because there's a precedent. You know, the current director of CRTV Boya, Mr. Wasaloko, when he insulted the Anglophones
over CRTV,
he was rewarded with an appointment at the CRTV.
But there was no direct mention, there was no direct
but if you read or heard what he said, it was really he really insulted the Anglophones, right, and they rewarded him. And Julius Wame, with all the respect I have for him, calling people names, those people at the diaspora will not have any impact if this thing was not grounded. It is a popular movement, and the reason is he trying to say that the Republic of Cameroon, or La République if we may say, they are correct, and that the people of the southwest and northwest region are just a set of stupid people who do not know their rights. No, the thing is, everybody wants their children to go to school. Kejang went down there to the southwest. But I think the problem with Mr. Wame is that he's absolutely wrong. I think sometimes if you don't have anything to say, you better keep your mouth shut. So I don't know why people should waste their time.
Elie Smith, I'm going to stay with you because
yes,
this is interesting. Now we had this mentioned about in the last edition. He quotes an example that transpired on July the 30th. He was actually in Kumbo, that's in the northwest region, attending church or mass, and the priest announced that Catholic schools were supposed to reopen on the 7th of August, and within minutes of that announcement, a Catholic school at Tobin in Kimbo was set ablaze.
Now my question is, those Catholic priests who announced school opening or school closure, were they the one who decided to begin the whole show? No. I think the problem now in this thing is that
that's very technical, yes, because they didn't call for the closure of the schools. They didn't call for the closure of the school. They actually closed their schools, and the reasons they gave Elie Smith were that they wanted to protect their property as well as the safety of the children they cater for in their school.
Exactly, so they should continue protecting their properties and allow people to express themselves. I think Mr. Wame, the problem with him is that he's in the United States. He is perhaps cut off from the reality. The problem is that I went to the northwest region the other day. I saw a man who was complaining to me, right, that, listen, I'll be rapid with it, that my children did not go to school and I don't feel happy. But I think it is necessary, it's a necessary sacrifice for the future. That was in the northwest, in Bamenda. I was going to Bowie, I was in the bus with a teacher He told me again this thing. I was like, but did these guys meet somewhere and understood themselves or exchange words? No. This one is in the northwest, and this one I met him at Bonaberry. He said this thing to me, Elie, well, you guys seem to be calling for classes to resume. I said, no, I cannot call for classes to resume nor call for classes to close because I did not call anything. I don't know what is happening. I know what is happening, but I'm a journalist. I stand to say the truth. He said, listen, our children will not go to school simply because we think that enabling environments are not there, and that these children are like the sacrifice that the ANC did during the day of apartheid. Now we want schools to resume. Yes. We want classes to go, people to go to school, but the enabling environment should be there. The thing is simple. This government and Julius Wame should encourage the government of Cameroon to release people who are in jail for nothing, who have done nothing. So we can speak today till thy kingdom come. If the people who are in detention, Mr. Ntarike, if they are not freed, all the missions that Kejan went and covered in the TT, whatever, and the thing is, leaders need risk getting humiliated because the people will not follow. Leaders need to follow what the people are saying. Okay. And if I were a leader, I will always listen to what my people want. What do the people of West Cameroon want? The people of West Cameroon want one thing. The people who are in jail should be free. Period.
I like it when you mentioned South Africa because the slogan back then was no freedom, no school.
Yes.
Even though there were no clear-cut lines on how the demonstrations were going to last. Keja Henry, the burning of the schools, according to Mr. Wame, is tantamount to an assault on the freedom of Anglophone kids, on their liberty to seek education.
Yes, for that he's correct. And I spoke with quite a lot of people who actually condemned. Because if you understand Ntarike, a highly guarded school in the southwest region, particularly in Kumba, guarded, I want to really precise, was burned, guarded by the forces of law and order.
And was burned.
So it now sends a very bitter signal to parents.
Who is burning those schools?
That how can a school be burned when it is guarded? And then you expect my child to go to that school guarded by the military.
Okay.
So,
with your permission, let's get over to Kimbo in the northwest region. When Joka Kingsley, a former journalist, now turned businessman, and of course a parent, is standing by. Hello, Kingsley.
Hello?
Yeah, we can get you 5 on 5. Can you hear us, Joka Kingsley?
Yeah, I can get you, Tarike. I can get you right from Kumbu.
And I need to tell our viewers, or rather remind them, that you're a regular participant on the program and that you are also a non-practicing journalist. But the question one, Kingsley Joka, is, has Mr. Julius Wame placed himself in the firing line of the Banso man?
Yes, Tarike, with great appreciation from the evaluation of things that you people at the panel have been doing, at the discussion panel have been doing, I want to tell you that Mr. Julius Wame's media outing at the social media placed him in a very difficult position to be Banso man. You see, when the church did the pronouncement they did, the Banso man had an interpretation of the situation. And it ended up the man, the common man in the street, there is an issue of greed for the interest of finances. In the same light, the Banso man sees Julius Wame in that light. Because Julius, in his day, as a critical and firebrand journalist, he used to run a column in the then Cameroon Post, in those days, the Postman, where he was a vibrant or a variant critic of the system of governance. But today, Julius Wame from the United States is running, or his wife is running, a project on the food for education. And the people in around Kumbu just see it like, okay, his interest about, accusing people online, telling people not to go to school or whatever, would have been that things should go normal so that this project or the wise project can be going on.
In other words, Kingsley, yes. Hello? In other words, the impression you're giving us is that he does not want the school blockades and the paralysis across the northwest and southwest regions to continue, because he actually does business in that part of the country with books on behalf of the World Bank. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, exactly. That is it. That is what is keeping, that is in the back, that is what the banksman sees like it's in the back mind or the background of Julius Wami's intervention. You see, like Elie Smith actually said already, when you look at the situation, Julius Wami does not have the power, or the internet gurus do not have the power to influence the situation on the ground if it was not a grounded struggle. You see, this is a struggle that the Julius Wami, the Eric Chingers have been fighting over the years. But today, because the people have already gathered and garnered a lot of strength on it, they have gone to the streets, they are carrying their activities, and no matter whether the internet gurus were there or not, the action could have been there. The only thing that the internet gurus have done in the whole struggle is that they keep a link of information, that there is flow of information and keeps the struggle alive. Okay. It is not that the internet gurus are actually the people influencing the things on the ground.
Okay,
the issue of school boycott remains school boycott, and they have stood their ground. Okay, from what I've evaluated, I've just seen that every other thing will stay the same.
Okay.
From the ghost towns of yesterday, passing through today, which is equally a ghost town day, till tomorrow, it is in full respect.
Okay,
and
Kingsley,
the people are bent.
Kingsley, we're not going to leave it there yet, but I just want to find out, because I know, and I want our public and our viewers to know, that you also hold the impression that the decision by the Catholic, the Baptist, and the Presbyterian denominations in Cameroon to reopen the doors of their schools is because they have realized that their coffers are running empty and that they don't have any money anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. That is the reading. That is the reading that is on the ground. The reading says that if the schools have already started and the parents have paid their school fees and everything and the coffers of the institutions were already full, it would have been as comfortable as anything for them to call for a security situation and call off schools. Right. But now, because the money is not yet there, they are looking at ways to see how to push forth so that maybe if the money comes, then unfortunately, the people are still fast. That is what is happening on the ground presently.
Thanks a lot, Njoka Kingsley, and thanks very, very much for your contributions and insights into the Julius Wame saga. I think that's how he's going to be known from now henceforth. He calls those promoting the struggle from abroad and via the social media networks as internet generals. When Njoka Kingsley says Wame's intervention may be due to the fact that he runs a book distribution business on behalf of the World Bank in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Now, Kejan Henry was recently in Ekondo TT in the Southwest region, and he brought back a couple of viewpoints. Do parents want to send their kids to school? Do they want to keep them home? How long is the sacrifice going to last? Let's get down to Ekondo TT in the Ndian division. Is that correct, Henry?
You are very correct.
And hear from some of those parents.
We are just coming out from this preparatory meeting for an effective resumption of the school year. Are we ready for the school year as stakeholders? Are the parents ready? Are the children ready? Are the principals ready? Are the teachers ready?
Thank you very much for the question. They were not ready. That is why we have held this meeting as a sensitization meeting, so that they understand the stakes of the matter.
Everything that has been spoken here. I feel very elated that first, God has helped us and the weather for surprisingly very bright, because in here we know that the rains are very heavy during this time. Second, the government has given us an enabling environment for us to be able to call people to come and join us to commune and pass out this information. Third, that the fact that this theme was given out to the population and we see the turnout shows really that the people are committed in their worries about their children going back to school. And I think I'm very happy and I'm very proud to be among those who join to see that things work in Dian and in Cameroon.
A lot of people are surprised because Dian is in a rural area. What do you think is responsible for parents to heed to the call of the unknown in a rural area like this?
Yes, Dian is not as rural as we may think. Very cosmopolitan. You know, the plantations are surround the whole place, and there's a lot of foreign influence. And right from the inception, what happened was that there were groups of individuals who are coming from outside to come with toxic minds to and threatening people in this area for them not for the children not to go to school. And it was something which that inculcated in people's minds that it was a political divide.
Thank you for granting me this. We're very, very pleased. I want to say that the division that I have come to command, where I've already commanded now for 5 months, is a very sensitive one. First of all, the Bakassi Peninsula is in this division. And I want to say that Indian division is one of those very much under-secularized divisions in the whole of Cameroon. It has been prolonged. It is now that the people are coming out. Internal and external elites are already occupying good positions because they have gone to school. At the time that we are fighting to make more children go to school so that tomorrow we will not be talking of industrialization in the Indian division.
What the mothers were saying, they say what that because they were something like that.
Anyway, thank you very much for this interview. Yes, as a mother, I feel so much because I've made personal effort to lead children from bar to bar. They are trying because bar gone and those that.
And so increasingly, well, that was Kejang Henry. My speed is getting too much for Toughtalk. Increasingly, the world is changing. If it's not the terror attacks that hit Spain, France, England, or the United States, it is mudslides and landslides. Remember recently in Freetown, Sierra Leone, 500 people were reported killed, and over 600 are still unaccounted for. The same thing has happened in the DR Congo. It has happened in China. But long before these things happened, and this is about 31 years ago, Cameroon suffered one of the worst, well, quote, natural disasters when the Lake Nyos exploded. And 1,750 Cameroonians lost their lives, including animals, goats and cows, and vegetation was virtually destroyed for a long period of time. Welcome, Gina Leke.
Thank you.
I couldn't stop looking at you when I was saying those final sentences, well, because you look wow.
Thank you.
Somebody needs to know what you eat, right?
I said the last time I ate a lot of fruits, so aside from my routine meals, fruits, a lot of pineapples, oranges, and watermelon.
That way you probably will not get much light or gas explosions in your tummy, right?
Well, definitely not.
So we're going to Lake Nyos 31 years after?
Yes, August the 21st to August, August the 21st, 1986 to August the 21st, 2017. That was yesterday, marked 31 years since what went down in history as one of the most devastating natural disaster occurred in Cameroon, what has become known today as the Lake Nyos disaster, which you already mentioned, took away the lives of about 1,700 people and about 3,500 animals that died following the explosion at the lake. Now, 31 years after, I mean, Divine, the question we're asking is, what has become of some of the survivors of this deadly...
Yes, that's the question you're asking, and that's the question I'm asking. What has become of them?
Well, you remember that immediately, I mean, after the disaster, the government, about 15,000 people fled the village, I mean, the surroundings, because, of course, they were afraid of their life. The gas was still in the air. Some people developed respiratory problems, paralysis, and all of that. And the government decided to relocate some of the survivors to some rehabilitation camps, including Buabua, Ipalim, and Yemge.
That's in neighboring villages? Neighboring villages
in the Menchum division, the northwest region of the country. And 31 years after these camps, most of them have become a shadow of themselves, because most of them have been deserted. Why? Because of inadequate basic facilities. I was just discussing with my senior colleague Henry Kejang, who has visited.
Who actually is the Canal, the official Canal de International delegate to Nyos.
Yes, exactly, because he has visited Lake Nyos more than 7 times, and we're just discussing some of these camps don't really have adequate basic facilities, as I was saying, access to health and potable water, and some say schools, children have to trek for long distances, and for that reason some of them have moved to bigger towns, some of them have gone to other villages.
Because finally it appeared they had left from trouble to even more trouble.
Yes, it had appeared they had left from trouble, but they were not able to, you know, they were not living well. Moreover, Divine, I would like to say another problem that caused the camps to be deserted, that caused people to continuously move, was because of the farmer-grazer conflict. That
is
recurrent in those parts. And because, you know, of this problem, they were not, the government warned that because the gas was, the lake was being degassed, it was not safe for them to go back there, but they wanted to go back there because their soils are very fertile, so that they could cultivate their farms and have something for their kids. But the government advised that they should not go back there because it was not, excuse me, it was not very safe. So most of them, we spoke to some of them yesterday as they were remembering the victims of Lake Nyos. I'm sure we are going to have time to listen to one of the survivors who has moved and is now living here in the nation's economic capital.
There are lots and lots of them in Douala. I know quite a couple of them. They actually have a Lake Nyos Masters Club.
Exactly.
Out in Douala.
Exactly. So that's what really happened, and you understand that as the process last month, I think it was last month, a government delegation visited Lake Nyos and announced that the degassing process was about 90% gone, which means, well, maybe the people could start looking forward to moving back to their land. I mean, it's not just about the fertility of the land, it's also moving back to your ancestral land, the land of your forefathers, the land, you mean, where you can call home. So we are looking forward to that moment where the people would go back there, but they can't go back without government's approval. So until the lake is completely degassed, before the people can go back and inhabit the land of their fathers.
Is it safe to return, Henry? 90% complete the degassing process?
It's not safe to return, but for what the government has told them, the people should always go back, cultivate, and move up to their respective camps.
Okay, so they can come down and grow their
crops and then move. But the one very important point, if I want to make, is
how do they transport the harvest from down to up?
As usual, there's no other means because you don't have the roads, and you understand why Regina was talking about basic facilities. And surprised that women abort their babies. I mean, pregnant women abort their babies sometimes as they move to far-off health centers.
Kejan Henry, is this an indicator that the government of Cameroon cares less about what could become big tourist destinations?
You are very correct.
Lake Nyos could stand out today across the world as a center of attraction for scientists,
for scientists, geologists, and so forth. And if you move to Palenyos, which is hanging up there, and the lake is right down, it could be transformed because it's like a plateau. It could be transformed to a good touristic destination.
Yes, and I just wanted to add that another factor that has really fueled this desire to go back to their land is because when they left, there are other people from different clans that who began resettling in the land, which is known to be very fertile. And the people are like, this is our land. If you say it's not safe, why is it that you're letting other people to resettle in our land? I would just say that Kejang and I were discussing some people from the clan. I think he mentioned...
From the Babutus.
Exactly. And
from the West region?
From the West region.
That's a source of potential trouble.
Exactly.
And the government is sitting
Yes,
by
and from what we gathered, they said, the people asked, what if these people have to come back because the process is not complete? They said, on va négocier.
Okay, so we're going to go listen to one of the survivors.
Exactly, one of the survivors who is based here in Douala.
Okay, let's hear the reaction from one or probably many of the survivors.
So that they can go to school. In 1986, I was about 14 years when this thing happened. My father was in Nyos. We were at Nyos. Something came out of the water with fire on it, and after that it fell back into water and started the water changed into blood. It started killing. The wind have to carry this thing down to the village of Nyos, killing people right down to Nigeria. That's how the thing happened. And the next day, there was no body in Nyos. And this thing killed about 1,700 and something people, taking lives about 3,000 cattle died there in Nyos.
And now you are telling us that the houses that have been built by the government, they are not, they cannot contain the people there.
Yes, yes. So after that, the government came and constructed three resettlement camps. Yemge camp, Epalim camp, and the Palanyos camp. And he built 3 schools, primary schools, the government schools. And now these camps have become so small to contain these people because there are new people that came there, and then later ones they grow up, then burn back children there and so on. So now the government is supposed to redo and these camps again, because the camps have become so small, and cattle have been invading this place each time when they make their crops, they invade and chop off their crops.
So Elie Smith, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I saw you negatively nodding your head when you heard that Bambutos people were coming to resettle in Lake Nyos area.
Yeah, it's marked what's happening in Camp Division, where Aijo took a lot of people from the West region and brought them around Kong Jok, and then they have populated the whole place.
What was the motive?
The motive then was that Aijo wanted to break the momentum of the UPC in the West region, so he took them and brought them into the Camp Division. So, but it's quite strange that people leave all the way from Bambutos Division and come and occupy land in West Cameroon, not in West Cameroon, in Menchum Division, which is in West Cameroon. I think the government is really just creating the enabling ground for conflict.
Okay, I'll take you back one step to Julius Wame. We were discussing his write-up a couple of moments ago. And, well, he says the ongoing ghost town operations are completely pointless and ultimately self-destructive. Elie Smith, because he says, for how long will businesses remain disrupted? For how long will schools remain disrupted? For how long will the courts remain paralyzed?
Yeah, it is not his business. The thing we have understood from what Jokai just told us, he's a businessman. So he feels that when the schools are off, he will not be able to sell his own thing. So you see, another man's meat is another man's poison. So I think he has lost an opportunity to keep his mouth shut. Nobody in West Cameroon needs him. He's a West Cameroonian, but he has to understand that people are demanding the correction of a historic wrong. That's the reason why all this is going on. So what will he say about Agbobala, Fontem, Mancho BBC, and the 151 or 72, depending on the sources that you contact, who are in jail? So I think he has just to keep his mouth shut and stay in the United States.
Before he keeps his mouth shut, Henry, well, when you read through the lines from what he says, it is that the poor are only being impoverished the more. And, well, the ghost town operations, for example, will only swell the number of uneducated Anglophone kids, which is potentially counterproductive.
Yes, he's saying what those who are calling for schools to resume are saying. It's just the same thing, the same trumpet. It is true that they will be counterproductive because that was trumpeted during the last outing In fact, that is what has been trumpeted by those who go out canvassing for schools to resume. We understand the acute poverty in which the people are swimming in now because of the ghost town operations, because of the non-resumption of schools.
For how long should such
For how long should
sacrifices be
such
made?
sacrifices, as long as, well, I am not like saying that me, I've always said it, because even the last time I was in Kumba, I was in Indian,
Henry, what did you say?
I asked them, because I wanted to verify
What did
something.
you say
I
yourself?
said, can we all carry these children to school? They said they are ready, but they are afraid.
All right. And so the scaremongering continues. The northwest and southwest regions remain in states of fear. Who is fomenting that fear? Is it the government, or is it the quote Internet Generals, according to Julius Wame? Probably will be coming back on these and other issues in other editions of Tough Talk. Elie Smith, thanks a zillion for being there once again.
It's always a pleasure.
And for being as frank and as blunt.
I got nothing to lose. I need to speak my mind and the truth. The thing is that Julius Wame, I had a lot of respect for him, but he has to be honest to know that the people of West Cameroon have even always been poor. Because since the unification, they have been the losers in the whole thing.
So should they remain in poverty for eternity?
No, they have to fight to improve their lot.
All right.
But you will not become a slave to people who think that they have this God-given right to dominate you forever.
Kajan Henry, thanks once again for making it.
Well, thanks very much, and I say good luck to Julius. Let him extend my very warm greetings to the wife, who was my teacher.
That's it for this other edition of Tough Talk. Catch you same time Thursday. Meantime, there's a rebroadcast of this edition at 8:30 p.m. Cameroon time tonight, and of course at 10:30 a.m. Wednesday Cameroon time. Stay on, run from trouble on the double. God bless you all.